This week, I want to continue the discussion on political alignments. So we have the two extremes in the United States. We have conservatives and we have liberals. Conservatives are basically no. This week, I want to continue the discussion on political alignments. We have two different sides within the United States political system. We have conservatives on one end and we have liberals on the other side. Most people in lately have begun to align themselves with what they call independent because they don't fully agree with one side or the other. Now, I find myself to lean towards the conservative side more often than not because when I look at my own personal values and biblical values, I feel like the conservative side represents most of them. The problem that we run into is when we begin to claim that God is on our side. That may be because we feel self righteous or because we feel like the other side is completely wrong and God cannot possibly agree with them even on one issue. God is always calling us to examine and to look to Him for solutions before making this assumption. And as I was thinking through this, I was reminded of the story of Joshua. Joshua is at the wall of Jericho, and the angel of the Lord shows up in chapter 6. And the angel of the Lord is there to help him to fight the enemy. Joshua draws his sword and begins to ask the angel of the Lord, whose side are you on? And the classic answer was surprising. Angel of the Lord says to him, neither. I'm neither on your side or against you, because he's the commander of the armies of the Lord. And this showed a very good and harsh reality sometimes of where God stands in terms of political conflict. We may assume that God is on our side, when in reality, God is telling us, I'm neither on your side or against you. All I need to know is, are you on my side? As we apply this to our politics, are we examining where the Lord stands, or are we assuming that He's on our side? When we assume that He's on our side, we may end up in a political agenda that's driven by somebody's personal agenda and sometimes may not be on God's agenda. So we want to always ask ourselves a question. Are we on God's side? Or are we assuming that He's on our side? If we do that, we'll have good success.